That might happen. I'm meteorologist David Neal for LSM Live Storms Media. Brett Adair's bit. I'm just a guest. He has invited me to come on today, and he and I'll be doing some stuff the rest of this evening to talk about what's happening. You know what he's doing. He's on his way down there. Whoops, cat did that. I didn't do that. All right, let's talk about what's going on here, because there's a lot to say here into the short term. Let's see if I can find the rest of my stuff. Here it is, Hurricane Ian location, right there at about 20 degrees now to the north, 83.2, and 952 millibars, 100 mile per hour winds are now showing up with this storm. So it is indeed what it is it's a hurricane. And if you get really, really close, I can show you that as this thing moves along here, we're still likely to see some of this making its way on eastward through the rest of the area as heavy rains and thunderstorms are pounding the western coastline of Cuba right now. At 5 p.m., there's your location. 2 p.m. on Tuesday, still a major hurricane. I'm not sure you keep it a major hurricane through western Cuba, but you know, maybe. And then by 2 a.m. Wednesday, a lot of the feeder bands will still be out over the open water. So 2 a.m. Wednesday, still a major hurricane. 130, 140 is possible. Here's where the problem lies, folks. See that last couple of hours now? We thought we were going to have more time for this thing to weaken. Now that's not as likely, as it looks like this thing becoming ashore before it weakens a whole lot. If I lived in Tampa, 100 miles either side, north or south of Tampa, that's where I'd really, really be concerned. The satellite images tell a lot of the story through the day today. We had dry air sneaking into this storm, and I'll show you a new one here in just a few moments, a brand new satellite image. But dry air coming in on the southwestern side in particular, and that's the only inhibitor here that I saw. There's an anticyclone aloft. There's high pressure. They're exhausting everything out the top of this thing. It's coming at the bottom, exhausting out the top like an engine on fire there. And so as that takes place just to the northeast now, the Cayman Islands, it's out over the open water. So it still has a lot of time out there to do its thing before getting anywhere close to anything of detriment, i.e., that would be western Cuba. There are some mountains over there that are not detrimental to the formation, or at least the structure of a hurricane. But it's going to rapidly move back out over the open water. And you can see it's like 250 miles away now from Cancun, Cozumel, Tulum, that area of the Yucatan Peninsula, and about 125 miles from Pinar El Rio, that's on the western side. Don't ask me to say that again. On that western side, and that's what's happening there as well. Beautiful satellite images. I don't care what you think. Beautiful satellite images. But again, it's still got a lot of dry air coming in on the, you can see on the southern side that goes all the way, wraps around the storm and then goes into it. As soon as you cut that off now, all holes barred. This thing is going to make its presence known as one of the stronger hurricanes, well, this season, obviously. But there's your dry air channel moving on to and into the storm, curving around back into it. Again, once that flow gets cut off, and it's already starting to happen. I'll show you satellite images. This is through the day today, but I'll show you satellite images that will prove my point here in just a few moments. But again, this into the short term has been bad, bad, bad for this storm, at least for it to go ahead and gather its strength as it was projected to do from basically all of the modeling over the past 24 hours and beyond. So there's your storm as it, you can see the towering thunderstorms now as they made their way across this area. And those were the storms that were causing the very heavy rainfall. Some of these rainfall amounts now from the Hurricane Center suggested well over 3 inches per hour. That's the torrential stuff where you can't see your hand in front of your face. That's coming into South Florida now. And that'll be showing up on our radar image here in just a couple of moments. Again, the infrared is showing colder cloud tops around the center. That's those towering thunderstorms up there. Look at all the lightning, too, showing up just off to the north. That's into Trinidad and Tobago and right over into that area there where, you know, on the outer feeder band. So it's a very energetic system. You don't often see a lot of lightning around thunderstorms, around the center of a thunderstorm anyway. But that might be something. I don't know about tornadoes or anything, but if they're going to be in that outer band, that northern band there that we do see as it wraps back and around. And again, I'll show you a couple more satellite images here because I think they tell a whole lot of the story. Two things you can see right here is, one, it's very well wrapped. I mean, symmetrically speaking, when one of the quarters mirrors the other, it's a very well-formed storm. Two things I want you to notice here, though, is that in the northern Gulf of Mexico, along the Gulf Coast, notice where those clouds are going. Those clouds are going from the southwest to the north and east. That's the influence of the cold front coming in across the southeastern United States, the southwesterly flow, and that is the thing that is supposed to bridge the gap between having a major hurricane and seeing this thing suffer a great loss in a 24-hour period of intensity and be pushed off to the right. What an unbelievable job modeling does when it comes to this, because to my naked eye, I'd say, hey, that's just going to go on to the north. Here again is look at some of the rainfall totals. 15 to 20 inches is not out of the question. Flash flood risk is in yellow there. That's the highest. And now we have, once again, what we're talking about here is the rest of this storm coming on shore there at that time. I want to show you the radar imagery, and this is live right now. And this is going to be from the Key West radar, showing you some of the stuff that's coming in already on the northern fringes of Cuba. This is the Isle of Youth down to the south, and this is the outer edges here, but already seeing some of the banding coming on shore here across the region. There's going to be more heavy rainfall. In fact, some of that banding showing up into South Florida, in and around the Keys here at the moment, and these are the rainfall rates that are 3 inches per hour, according to the National Hurricane Center, and might actually be a little bit more as we go through time. And I don't know if I can do this while I'm on the air here, but I'm going to try. I want to show you what the satellite imagery looks like right before dark. There's the clouds. You can see the depth of the cloud cover here, the shadow on the eastern side. Look at this, how amazing this is. This is one of your last images before it gets dark. Check that out, folks. Let me put this into motion for you. I just want to say, check this out, Brett. Brett's driving around. This is the kind of thing Brett and I share at 3 o'clock in the morning. Is Brett, look at the structure of this satellite image and this storm. And again, it's beginning to wrap a little bit more. You can see that, and probably blocking off the dry air now more than ever before. This is now north and west of the Cayman Islands. Right there is the CDO, the central dense overcast of the storm. That's showing us again where we had thunderstorms wrapping all the way around the center. Here's a huge cluster of thunderstorms right here. And this is the first time we've really shut off, that there's been a shut off to the dry air that was coming in on the western side of this. So that's good news too for the storm. When I say good news, now I'm talking about a storm. So we wish it would go away, but it's not going to. And it is a matter of nature, by the way, and this is the way it happens here. But again, there's your picture, your image that shows you how classical this thing is coming northward. But the other thing again is that what's happening into the northern Gulf of Mexico is the other part of this, and this is the thing that we'll be watching, because some of this cloud deck is already beginning to move off to the north and to the east, meaning there's influence here of a cool front that's already beginning to show up, and that would be that'd be the best thing that could happen, is this cold front really began to shear this thing out of the southwestern corner. I don't see any evidence of shear right here on any of the banding just yet, but before long, I think that's what the case is going to be. So overall, big storm. We're going to be talking about it through the night tonight. Brett Adair join me here in just a little bit. We'll be talking with him. He's on his way down there to the affected area, so we'll get in with that, and we'll talk more about what's happening over the next several days.